And good afternoon, family. I'm Curtis Cheatham Jr., and welcome to This Week in Black America. And here's a rundown of the past week's highlights. The head of the Port of Los Angeles is projecting a huge drop in shipments, and we're going to explore what that means. We're going to also talk about a tragedy. A high school senior is dead, and a homeowner is jailed in an apparent TikTok prank gone wrong. So we're going to talk about that. It's also Mental Health Awareness Month, the month of May, and we're going to highlight some organizations that are focused on mental health services, specifically in the Black community. And one of President Traore's guards claims to have been offered $5 million to assassinate the Burkina Faso leader. And we'll have the latest on this revolutionary African leader. We're also going to explore the latest of what's going on in this latest Republican administration. All that and more on This Week in Black America. I got my brother with me, Brother Deshaun. How you doing?
I feel great. I'm excited for to catch up on the happenings of this week. If this is your first time rocking with us here, welcome to our community. If you are a regular, you already know what it is. If you're one of our co-hosts, make sure you catch us up on anything you might have seen that we didn't hit. We go live every Friday from 12 noon to about 1:30 p.m. Eastern time right here on the Hello Black America YouTube channel and the Brother Deshaun Facebook channel. So this is your show just as much as it is our show. So if you got time to spend with us, go ahead, hit the like button. Let the algorithm know that this conversation is important. It matters. And if you want to tap in and be a part of us every week, make sure you hit the subscribe button, join the community so you never miss a show. So we see you. We appreciate you. We're just getting started. So, Curtis, let's get into this thing. Lots of stuff happened this week. Cue us up.
Yeah, lots of stuff going on. And the first thing I want to start with today, we kind of discussed it actually over the last week or so. What's happening now when we see these tariffs taking effect, and we know that there's some tariffs that still have not even gone into place yet, or at least have been paused for some period of time. But the tariffs that are in place, specifically with China, have been problematic. And this guy who we have a clip here, if you look at that second clip, there's a guy who's the head of the Port of LA, and he's kind of projecting that basically our shelves are going to be empty. You guys you may remember the COVID times, 5 years ago, almost to the day. Well, a little bit longer than 5 years ago, where we're having trouble getting things on the shelves because of disruptions in the supply line or the supply chain line. And this guy is basically sounding the alarm that we're going to see empty shelves coming up shortly. He's predicting anywhere around a third reduction in the amount of ships coming into the port. Now, you might not think that's a big deal, but that means a lot of people losing jobs. Those longshoremen that are shore people, I don't know what they're calling them these days, but the longshoremen workers, the dock workers, you got truck drivers. All these things are being impacted by this slowdown in the supply chain. So, thoughts on that? My bit of my recommendation would be stock your shelves. Make sure that you have the things that you need, because we may be entering a time now where it's going to be more difficult to get the basic necessities, and you want to be prepared and not be reactive, but be proactive. Certainly, we want that for our audience. What do you got on that, brother?
Well, we started talking about this about a week and a half ago. because we were getting the anyone who's in the logistics and the supply chain business, they were speaking about this. They've been talking about this because these trade deals that didn't get made, or these tariffs that left a lot of businesses with uncertainty about placing orders and stocking up and what it's going to look like for spring or for a particular month or for a particular quarter. They did not have these things to be able to make the decisions. Some people, during our show last week, Curtis, we talked about how the Prime Minister of Singapore at that moment was announcing that they were cutting off all trade with the U.S. at the very moment.
Right.
So as we saw these things happening over the last couple weeks, we didn't know how was it going to affect us here, and when was it going to affect us here. But I want to play a little bit of this clip from this gentleman who is over the port of Los Angeles. He's smiling, but this ain't happy. So
absolutely.
For us, how much volume has just dropped off in the last few weeks? Yeah, about a third of the import volume, which means give or take about 50,000 20-foot equivalent units gone off the arrivals coming in next week. So from next week is when you expect to see this really hit. That's correct. And that matches up. The announcement's back on April 2nd. Then on April 8th, a little bit of a change on everybody, ex-China, Mexico, Canada. And those arrivals are coming at us this weekend.
We'll, of course, dedicate time to your port, but I'm just wondering how you anticipate this rolls and ripples through the economy from here, how it hits trucking, when this turns up on the shelf. What's the distance, the time from when you see a drop-off in volume and when we, as consumers, see the shortages?
Right. So CEOs are telling me, hit the pause button. Right. I'm not going to import any more of these kind of prices. Let's wait and see. I don't know if it's going to be 2 hours, 2 days, or 2 weeks until I get some clarity.
So he said, as next week, the ships that are coming to the port are literally a third empty.
Yeah.
So we don't know what products they are. We don't know if we don't know. But what we do know is that this is not just the port of Los Angeles. We're over here in the East Coast. The ships that have brought us these products are coming through. We were hearing up to a third, some up to 40% for some ships. This gentleman says it's averaging about a third based on him. So this really looks like, depending on how hard this hits and how long it lasts, we really need to be prepared to not have some of the things we've been used to having. So we really, what we'll do for next week, we'll try to dig into more of what these ships that are empty are bringing. So we know, is this food? Is it, electronics? Is it, appliance? Or where are these things going to hit? And I'm sure that as this happens, we'll be able to get more info on this. But like Curtis said, I think that's wise, Curtis. It's time to just really start to the consumerism. It's time to control that. If you have a habit or a lifestyle or a mindset of just consumerism, it's going to be tougher for you in these days to where let's go minimalist. Let's go for this particular time. Let me start to adjust myself to not having some of these things. Just prepare your mind for that. And I think, God willing, hopefully that'll at least help us when this whole thing hits. What do you think, Curtis?
I think that is a wise thing, a wise way to approach this, because I think we're entering a time of scarcity, where resources are going to be harder to come by. I see DC Old Fly checking in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate you, sis. But she's saying that Dante, my nephew, is going to start planning food. That may not be, in this time, I don't know how well planting a garden right now is going to serve you, but you certainly should be taking proactive measures to prepare for a time when food might not be as available. Growing your own food is the easiest, the best way to make sure. Folks, we were brought here, in case you don't realize this, our people were brought here for our expertise in growing things, for our ability. The people on the African continent knew how to grow things, how to get their hands in the soil and make it work. And now we're too sophisticated for that, maybe in some cases, but keep in mind where we come from. And we know how to work the ground with our hands, and we need to get back to some of those roots, because we become far too dependent on others providing for us for our own needs. And we may be entering a time where that's more difficult. So this is just, take it for what it's worth.
And just one more thing I want to add. This is my final point on this. If any of you who have been around me for even a short period of time, you know that I talk about what these prophecies say. These scriptures say that famine's coming.
Right.
So we've been talking about this for at least 5 months, that famine is coming. And the scripture said, we're not growing your own food. We're not talking about replacing your grocery store. We're talking about in times of desperation, as we looked at, you mentioned something great, Curtis, going back to the pandemic. There were times where you were concerned if there was going to be enough food to eat.
Right.
Not, are we going to now, thank God we got through it. But this is not, is there going to be enough? Oh, can I replace everything from the grocery store growing it? This is like, okay, let's look at the foods that, in the case of absolute, some of the worst case scenarios, what are the foods with the longest shelf lives? What are the vegetables that we can eat that we will be good? If it's potatoes, if it's stuff that's filling, that has what we need. This isn't about, oh, let's go, we're going to make a 4-course meal from home. No, we're talking about times we have not seen, and being prepared for those times by growing some of your own food, having your own chickens. I tell you what, the people that went out and got chickens, if they didn't give it up, but listen, some people gave it up. They said, wait a minute, when I saw the YouTube video, I swore this looked easier. But for those people who stuck with it, and they have eggs, they have eggs. And, worst case scenario, they have chickens. So, I think that's the route that it is wise for us to be moving towards that. That's all I got.
Listen, I went and stocked up on beans and rice. I come from the Louisiana. Some red beans and rice will take you a long way. And they stick to the bone. So, and it doesn't hurt that I'm part of the Rotund tribe already. So it's okay. I'm maybe this will be an opportunity.
Every time.
That's all right. Anyway, but be prepared, folks. In all seriousness, this is not something that you want to take lightly. You don't want to be left wanting. So, act accordingly. Lots of other stuff going on. This is kind of an abrupt change as far as direction from the first story. But I do want to get into it a little bit, because I'm starting to see a trend. And brother, I'm going down to the 14th story, number 14. If we're starting to see a trend, or I'm starting to see a trend on social media, where you're starting to see more of these things, these pranks, they're calling them, where these young people are doing stuff to elicit some sort of response from somebody else, whether it be, I've seen them touching some guy's wife or fiance in an inappropriate manner. And when they get hemmed up, when somebody grabs them, they yell, "It's a prank! It's a prank!" Yep. Praise God, that's never happened to me, because I just
don't play like that.
I don't play them games, and it don't matter if it's a prank to me. It does not matter to me. Your prank is going to get you. There's an old saying: don't write a check with your mouth that your behind can't cover. I think of that saying in this: if you say something to me or do something to my family or my wife, or we're going to have a problem. We're going to have a problem. And I don't care if you yell prank 100 times, there may be, I don't even want to, I'm sorry. I'm not even going to put that out there.
Well, clearly,
I'm trying to embrace my more pacifist nature.
Listen, clearly you're not alone in this.
Right.
Because everyone, Shannon Sharp comes to mind because he continually warns people, hey, y'all with these plans, everybody don't play like that.
Absolutely not.
And the clout chasing culture has really gone to levels that have gotten somebody killed. This particular case of Virginia teen was shot and killed by a homeowner while filming a ding dong ditch prank. So, according to People, 18-year-old Michael Bosworth Jr., rest in peace, was fatally shot on Saturday by a homeowner during what was initially suspected to be a residential burglary in progress. Now, if you sitting here and you got your gun, Curtis, and you know that, hey, it looked like these people trying to rob me, instincts say, yo, this is life or death. Self-defense. Now, unfortunately, this gentleman's been charged with second-degree murder, so we certainly want to follow this, because how could it be second-degree murder
when somebody came in your house, right?
Let's just initial investigation is like, but obviously, the question becomes, will people see this and chill out? Because it's been heating up, if you notice. Over the last year, you got people who do these pranks, and then they like, yo, dude will snatch them up, rag them, yeah, it's a prank. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a prank. How many times does it have to happen before you're like, all right, let me find another way to get views?
My father used to have a saying that said, basically, sometimes you can be right, but be dead right. It's like, so yeah, you might yell it was a prank, but it may be too late. And that's the case in this particular story that we're talking about here in Virginia, where, some young people supposedly are trying to prank, and they're kicking on this guy's door. He's thinking somebody's trying to come in his house. I guarantee you, in my house, the next sound you're going to hear is that shotgun racking. If I hear somebody trying to come in the door, and I don't know that I'm going to be asking too many questions at that time. And unfortunately, it's tragic in this situation, but who thinks it's a good idea to try and kick in somebody's door? And this is apparently like in the wee hours of the morning. So I'm thinking somebody's trying to come in my house, and if I got my hands on one of these weapons, you best believe it's going to get fired. So it's tragic. The other thing, though, about this, the larger question is about the racial justice, the racial injustice that goes on in this country. And the fact is that this is a black man who owns this home, and a white teen, under the guise of a prank, ends up getting his life taken. But I'm just wondering what would have happened were the roles reversed. And if it was a white homeowner and a black person claiming to be doing a prank, I wonder, would that white homeowner have been charged and taken, in fact, to jail based on the exact same set of circumstances? Any thoughts on that, brother?
Well, I think what's interesting is, they've been the psychology of how they programmed us concerning black or white people. Like, I walk down the street, I see 5 white people. It could be 6 o'clock at night. Now, depending on it could be, 10 o'clock at night. Now, depending on the neighborhood, I'm not walking through skinhead territory. I'm not walking through neo-Nazi territory. So if I see 5, white people, typically I'm not worried, not one bit. Depending on the neighborhood. Again, depending on the neighborhood. If I'm in certain neighborhoods and I see 5 black people, I'm head on a swivel. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's, but I feel like that's more neighborhood specific. So if I'm in certain parts of Newark, certain parts of East Orange, 10 o'clock at night, head on a swivel. And that's that feels like neo-Nazi territory to me. This is danger zone type. This is not necessarily something going to happen, but I know how it gets down out here. So I think looking at, depending on what type of neighborhood this person is in, if a black person comes to my door, listen, I got to protect me and mine. I don't know if that is coming to the justice system, how it's going to be in, because again, I don't get how he's charged with second-degree murder.
Right.
What just comes to mind is how we automatically have been taught to think, because half the time, even if I'm in certain neighborhoods in North, none of these guys have a problem.
Right.
But I am, let me watch myself. Man, those brothers thinking, man, they got their dick plan because they looking to go home and play Call of Duty. So it's the programming that has us worried about more so our people, because I can't really compare. Tons of our people will come in. We had a couple people, I think 2 weeks ago. The young girls, I believe they were playing something with they were around someone's house. Somebody, one of our co-hosts might know, or maybe you remember. One of the girls, they were selling candy or something, and it went bad or something.
Right. I do recall that.
The programming has taught us to look at our people as a threat, not just white people, but even us. So this brother has a person come to his house. It is a harmless prank, but hey, we're in a culture where we're taught, man, I'm viewing people as threats that's not threats. Maybe he just can't do. He was smiling. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, ding dong, whatever. I don't know the details. But for me, again, I just go to the society that has taught us to look at black people as threats, regardless of what. And it's not just white people that do it. They programmed that into us too. And, I don't know. Did this brother that got killed, that came up, did he look like he was going to rob you? Did he look like? Because how does a ding dong ditch prank turn to, I thought you was going to rob me?
Yeah, they were saying that he was kicking at the door or something of that mistake, that regard. So,
say no more.
Yeah. So
that's trying to play a little devil's advocate. Come on now, God, rest in peace, Michael. Come on.
The devil don't need no advocates. But I would just say this: that while you were speaking, you know what came into my mind is the Malcolm X saying, "Who taught you to hate yourself?"
Ooh.
And the fact of the matter is that we have been taught to hate ourselves in a lot of cases, and to see ourselves and view ourselves with suspicion. And that is part of the plan. And I've heard you talk about it on previous shows, maybe on the other platform, but talk about how News 12, I think you're having breakfast with your dad and watching News 12, talking about how every 10 minutes it was like mandatory to have a black person being shown in handcuffs or in some sort of other
7 minutes.
Okay, there you go.
Like somebody literally hits it. Show him now.
There you go.
It's something to listen. Guy gets caught with 8 bags of weed. He's on statewide news.
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's no murders happening. Yes, absolutely. But you're right. That is part of that programming that they have fed us and fed others. Because again, a lot of those programming show in white communities, and all they see is this. This is exactly what it looks like. Yeah. Well, how we got our brother up here, and God willing, he gets some type of manslaughter charge, because that sounds more like what is justify, what fits the crime. But at the end of the day, that's what they see. Every 7 minutes, you've been taught. And obviously, this brother is upset. His whole life has changed. He didn't come out to that morning. He wasn't planning on killing somebody. He was just sitting in his house, and now his whole life has changed. So, but
I don't think this brother should have been charged at all. I mean, we've seen so many cases of the stand your ground doctrine, the castle doctrine. The fact of the matter is, somebody comes into your home. I think that they're going to probably say that the intruder actually never got into the home, apparently. So that's going to be where they're going to probably where this is going to the pivot point is probably going to be the fact that he never got into the house. But I'm like, if common sense tells me why am I waiting for somebody that is kicking my door? Why am I waiting for them to actually come in before I actually, you know, it's troubling to me. We want to keep an eye on it, but what I would like us to be aware of is the way the justice or the injustice system treats Black assailants, quote unquote, versus and when there's a white victim versus the opposite, when the opposite is true.
That's an absolute fact. Because if this is maybe I'm not no prosecutor or anything, but like an involuntary manslaughter, if anything. But even like you said, if it comes to self-defense and to stand your ground, it's no charge. This was a white man. We absolutely know not only would he not be charged, he would have never been arrested.
Right.
So
absolutely.
100%. Well, we will follow that, and we certainly wish this brother Tyler Butler the best. We will certainly keep following that story.
Now, you brought up a great point that'll lead us into another good topic here. This is Mental Health Awareness Month, and the fact of the matter is that, as you were just saying, this indoctrination, if you will, of us to hate ourselves, to view ourselves as enemies. I personally, I used to travel a lot for business, and one of the things I used to always do is go wherever I went in the country. I would go to the Black community, the hood, and just kind of sometimes just ride around, sometimes find a restaurant or something else to go to, but just wanted to see how my people were living in these particular communities. So that was always, for me, I was never afraid, if you will, to be around my people. Although, sometimes you're, like you mentioned, sometimes you get in some hoods where you just definitely want to have
you want to know somebody.
Environmental awareness, and knowing somebody helps. Absolutely.
But, I know you're right. Still gotta be aware. Yep.
But how much of this is a mental attack, if you will, on the Black community? The media portrayals, the fact of the matter that that we tend to criminalize the Black population far more than the unmelanated folks, and all of that, I think, has a mental impact on us. And people now, especially in this generation, there's a lot more talk about mental health issues, much more so than this was never, when I say never, that's a capital N, never discussed as I was a younger person. You very, very, rarely heard anybody talk about trauma or the results of trauma, mental health advocacy, any of those things were never really talked about. And now we've made a big switch. I've seen a shift in people being willing to talk about their mental health issues, people being willing to share their struggles with people so that hopefully others will learn, or at least be emboldened to seek help for their own mental struggles, perhaps. And again, this is Mental Health Awareness Month. The fact is that the Black community has kind of shied away from help, because we're tough. We've been through a lot. And we tend to, especially Black men, let's call it like it is, are far more prone to try and figure it out on their own or stew in it rather than seeking help. So I don't know. I just thought it'd be an interesting conversation to bring in. What are your thoughts about seeking mental health, about that sort of therapy in the Black community? Give me your thoughts on that before we kind of run through some of these resources.
Sure. Well, I think first of all, welcome, Get Black with me. Good to see you.
Absolutely.
She's sharing some phenomenal things that we'll bring up too, as far as when we get to the resources in 1 second. But I put a question up. There's a question up. It's Mental Health Awareness Month. What are you doing to self-care? What are you doing to self-care? I think we spend, there is so many things that when you really dig into it, you'll see that the traumas that you've survived are not normal.
Right.
And when you see that the traumas, that the things we go through, let's put it like this. Let me give you an example. When I went to work for the gym, in the car business, and even when I waited tables before that, I started working with white people. So I had a mixed, very diverse group of people. In fact, when I transferred from from Clifford Scott to Bloomfield High, that was really my first step. I'm 15 into like diversity. Like, I come from a black neighborhood. We had a couple, we had my man Alex Vasquez, but he was Hispanic. So he straight up looked white, but we knew he was Hispanic. When we get out there, right, it's a different look. Now, here's the point I'm making. All of those people, if I literally reached out to them now, most of them still live in the neighborhoods they grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
There is no desire to leave. There's no goal to leave. The friends that they grew up with, they're still friends with them. They're working in various fields. Now, don't get me wrong, they have their own set of challenges. Life isn't rosy. But for us, our neighborhoods are some of the few where when we are trying to become something, we have to leave the neighborhood.
Mm.
That in itself is traumatic, because what does that look like? I have to leave my friends. Then I have to go through, oh, can I take my friends with me?
Mm.
Can I have my friends? We all know there's people who move from here to here, and next thing you know, you got friends from the neighborhood, and one of them is still in the neighborhood, and this creates different types of situations because, man, you living good over here. You got, oh man, I still don't have nothing to lose, so I bring that nothing to lose energy. And then you realize, man, everyone can't come.
Right.
This is all trauma that other neighborhoods and cultures don't have to deal with.
Absolutely.
They're not trying to get out of Ridgewood, New Jersey.
No, they are not.
I call this the ocean and the pool. The ocean and the pool. Now, if you go to a neighborhood like Ridgewood, or like how other cultures grow up, you get in the pool. We all been in the pool. Curtis, you've been in the pool, right?
Absolutely.
You sit in the pool, you ain't got to move. You just put your feet in the pool, you ain't doing nothing. Pool. The pool is so nice. You gonna swim? No, I'm not swimming. I'm just standing. That's other neighborhoods. You get into the ocean, you try to stand still. That thing's pulling you.
Yes, indeed.
It's pulling you. So literally, we come from the ocean. If you don't put the counter velocity into what's pulling you, gangs pulling you, depression pulling you, low self-esteem pulling you, broken home pulling you. If you don't, you swept up. And that's what people who come from other neighborhoods will never be able to relate to when it comes to us. That's why we're looking for, is there a place, Black culture, where we can live and everyone's happy and I can grow my kids there and ain't gotta ever leave those neighborhoods? They've destroyed them. But that's why I say that if we're not working on how we feel about ourselves and others, we and sometimes we mask it. But I am absolutely a proponent on taking your mental health seriously, and whether it be through therapy or whether it be through uh, um, religious doctrine. So in my particular case, I am very much focused on what those promises of God say about me and love, because I have a commandment to love and forgive. That helps a lot because you try not to think evil. Love doesn't think evil, so it forgives. It's long suffering. It's patient. So those are some of the things that I go to. But for sure, in our household, I've been to therapy. You find a good therapist, they are awesome, but they are also overworked and underpaid, a lot of them. So, it's a definitely a touchy subject. So that's kind of my thing. I would, get black with me. We're gonna stay here because you're putting us some good resources. But Curtis, I want to give you the floor now. What's your experience overall, your approach? How do you look at this mental health thing?
I have tried therapy recently. Frankly, it isn't for me. I mean, I gave it a try just because probably succumbing to peer pressure, like everybody's doing it, you got to try it. So I did do like the one of those online things. I signed up for 4. You had to take four sessions to pay for it. So I figured I tried it for a month. It wasn't for me. But I am not at all saying that if it works for you, or if it's something that I am a proponent of talking to somebody. And for me, I have my own community. I have a community of people that I trust, that are self-aware, that are spiritually grounded, and that are friends enough to tell me the truth about myself. And I am self-aware enough to tell myself the truth about myself. And that, being honest with yourself is, I think, for me, one of the highest forms of self-care. And protecting my peace, having a peaceful environment. Now, this coming from a person, which I'm not going to get into the details of it here, but coming from I've been in environments where my peace at home has not been guarded. And I now live in a situation where my peace at home is paramount and protected not only by me, but by the others that share my home. So that sets up an environment where self-care can thrive, and for me. And I agree with all you said about the spiritual grounding, and knowing that the peace that is offered me through my spiritual grounding is very important to me as well. And that's why I don't get too high or too low about really anything, because ultimately I have put my faith and trust in God and the promises of His Word. So mental health is a broad subject, and I don't know that there's any one way to deal with it. It's an individual thing, obviously. There are some resources here that are mentioned in a particular article that we found here, and you can look some of these up if they seem to match what you're looking for. There's a therapy for Black girls, obviously focused on destigmatizing mental health with Black females, and access to different therapy needs. So that is something specific for Black girls and women. Also talks about the perceptions of mental health illnesses and as they connect to mental and menstrual health. So those are obviously things specific to women that can be addressed. And if that's something that would be helpful for you, Therapy for Black Girls is a resource that is specifically focused on addressing the needs of our Black female community. Black Mental Health Alliance, BMHA. Also another group that provides a wide range of mental health services, resources for professionals, clients as well. So this is another resource that will allow you to explore specifically about how racism impacts your mental health. And
Absolutely.
we kind of talked through a little bit of that.
That's a good
Absolutely. So that is something that is specific to that Black Mental Health Alliance. Certainly want to check them out. And not to be left behind, there is a group of individuals that deal with the Black male mental health as well, and it's called Black Men Heal. Again, mental health treatment specifically geared towards the Black male community. And we know that men deal with trauma differently than women. So it seems appropriate that we have different resources to help men deal with that. So that's Black Men Heal. The Boris L. Henson Foundation was another one created by Taraji B. Henson in honor of her late father, Boris L. Henson.
Now, this is different than Taraji P. Henson.
Oh, yes, Taraji B. Henson.
This is a whole different person. Wait a minute.
Thank you for pointing that out.
I'm asking. That was a question. Somebody help me, because I was reading it and I'm like, what are the chances that there's a Taraji P. Henson and a Taraji B. Henson in this world?
I don't know. I think I think I'm more inclined to believe that might have been a mistake.
Okay.
What do you think?
Okay.
Because to your point, why would you even point it out? Taraji B. Henson? All right, we got to check that out.
Let's just assume that this is the same.
Who knows?
Ain't no way.
I would have to agree with you.
Okay. Yeah. And some additional resources that get Black with me. And first of all, we have our one of our co-hosts. For those of you who are new here, if this is your first time here, type a 1 in the chat. Let us know it's your first time here. If you are regular, or even if you have an opinion now, you become a co-host. So, but Get Black with Me is one of our most brilliant co-hosts. She always has tons of valuable insight. She shared a few names. I pulled them up. We're pulling them up on the screen here. Dr. Frances
Cress-Welsing. Yes.
Recently, passed away not too long ago, but she was an American psychiatrist, well known for the proponent of the melanin theory, and what it seems as if, correct me if I'm wrong, Get Black with me, that there were people, psychiatrists. Another one is Dr. Wade Nobles here, who have been professionally trained and have been specifically trying to address mental health issues in the Black community for a very long time. Seems like. Let me see. When people don't understand how race and racism affect us mentally and physically, it often goes undiagnosed. Well said. Well said. Yeah, we have. I was thinking as you were talking, because you you brought the racism thing up, and let's just stay on this for a little minute, because we got tons of other topics to talk about, but it is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it is very important for us to be taking how we feel about ourselves and others seriously, and namely how we feel about ourselves, because Absolutely. That is the inside job. It's that inside job. And so these resources exist. Look these people up, read their books, watch their talks, because sometimes we come from where we had to be so tough, and we have to be so tough. We are told to just tough it up, suck it up. This is, hey boy, hey, listen, man, the world ain't gonna be friendly to you, whatever. And the reason why I'm a proponent of really, even in your seeking of professional professionally trained psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists, when we now open up those scriptures, there's an explanation there. So what we've heard about that Old Testament, there's a specific group of people that is, how does it feel to be even rejected by every person? I saw one person posted a video from China. They had a bad, because, a lot of people going to China now and people moving out of the USA. And there was one person, because they like, oh, they love us out here in China. They love Black people. And for the most part, that is what I'm seeing. That is what I've heard. But one person posted a video, had one bad interaction, and somebody said, Dad, we can't go anywhere without being hated. And, you can't, there's some level of truth to that. We don't have our own place to go. If we go into Africa, there's going to be some people that hate us there. If we go into Europe, wait, y'all ain't from here. If we go into China, wait, y'all ain't from here. But there's a scripture that says, in these days, it says, gather yourselves. Yes, gather yourselves, O nation not desired. So there are some things that are, if you are properly reading, if you're getting this stuff from pastors and who are just giving you this kind of self-help prophecy, everything's going to be fine, but it's no good, then it's going to be tough to use the scriptures to actually change how you feel about yourself and understand your identity and your heritage and your ancestors and why we're here. But if you read it in the basis of truth, independent of what was taught to you about it, because that's the business. The business is teaching you how to interpret the scriptures. And so we get an interpretation through man's way, where if we open that up and we just realize, okay, the setting of this book is East Africa, based on the rivers, setting, all mankind, 6,000 years ago, setting. Okay, these are Black people. There's no cut fair skinned people until the Babylonians come in later and the Assyrians come in later. All of these people are Black, and then they expound and you'll start to see, whoa, hey, these kind of people. So anyway, I just want to say, because that is where I lean to, and that is what has helped me. But again, as you said, Curtis, having someone to talk to, having people who will be honest with you, trying to be as self-aware as possible, not being harder on yourself. Like, there's tons of resources. And I say, whether you're using therapy or whether you're using the scriptures, just use it so that you can get to the result you want, which you deserve to feel great about yourself. Absolutely. Especially considering what you have survived and what your people have survived. That's all I got.
Absolutely. If you just take into account the set of circumstances, if you are Black in America, the set of circumstances that led you to be here, that allow you to exist in this time and place, shows how resilient your people have been through the years, and you have inherited that. You are not, your history did not start when we were brought here in the hull of ships. So keep that in mind. Shout out to Endeavor to Persevere. First time joining us. Welcome. Good to see you. Glad to have you join us.
Not to cut you off, Curtis, but I need some clarity on this, because help me out with this, please. Endeavor to Persevere. She came on because, Get Black With Me is mentioned in Dr. Wade Noble's, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, Addicted to White by Jerome. We're talking about this mental health. And then she came on, said, Caroline Levitt is my hero. So I pull it up because I'm like, who the heck is Caroline Levitt? And this is who I got. The name wasn't spelled correctly, unless this is a different. And I hope that the Caroline Levitt that you're talking about is some different person. Or are we talking about the White House press secretary?
Okay.
I couldn't find a Caroline Levitt.
Maybe that is their hero. I'm not sure. Certainly not my hero, but I don't begrudge anybody having another hero.
KK Caroline is KKK. Black with me, you a fool. Okay. So I thought that was just like we were doing, the Taraji P and the Taraji B. I'm like, oh, there's somebody out here that has the same name as this woman, who is like really good, but I think that was just a typo, and she was really, saying this is her hero. So, yeah, you got.
Okay. Listen, I don't begrudge you to have your heroes. You can whoever you want to. Listen. Can you take that picture off? Because it's kind of disturbing.
Yeah. Oh my God! Listen,
I don't want to look at that.
Yeah. Go ahead. All right. So what else you got? Listen, let's protect our mental health.
Thank you so much. Let's wrap this mental health discussion up. A couple more resources if you want to check them out. Beam, 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 Black Emotional and Mental Health Collective, another organization that caters to the needs of the Black community, and the Loveland Foundation. Through the Loveland Therapy Fund, they do cater to Black women and girls specifically also. So, there are several different organizations and groups that are working in the space of Black Minds Matter, of Black mental health awareness and resources to support them. So, the overall basis of and the reason why we brought this subject up is we just want our people to be mentally okay. We want you to be strong. We have enough things thrown at us on a regular basis. More so now, as I really think the intent is to get us off our square, to get us riled up, and maybe get us out in these streets protesting, to open up the door for more harm that can be done to us. So drink your tea, relax, guard your peace, because it really is. It's probably more important now than ever before. So definitely want to do that. Now, speaking of guarding, and I bring this subject up, this particular story up. If you look at that 19th story that we have there, brother, it's back to my main man. He's become, as far as heroes go, this is becoming one of my heroes, and that is Ibrahim Traore. And we talked about him last time. I think I'm making a conscious effort to keep his name out in the ether. We want people to know this name. We want people to gravitate to this leader, because I think he's the type of leader that is necessary in this time. And the reason I brought this story up is because one of his guards reportedly was offered $5 million to take the life of President Traore. Now, it didn't go into the details about who made this offer and all that sort of thing. So to that, it's tough to verify the details of this, but the person is making a statement saying that he was offered this money and saying that he made a choice not to accept it, because basically you're saying, what if I get this $5 million? How am I going to live with myself after this? Is kind of what I got from it. And that would be troubling. I don't know that I could live with that. You're given the responsibility for caring for someone's life, and you betray them. We see Judas doing that in the Bible. So it's not like it can't happen. But any thoughts on that? On President Traore and the fact that we keep hearing, if you're looking, every week there's a different story about him, an attempt to assassinate him, or some sort of coup or plot attempt to try and take him down. What are your thoughts on this latest story about one of his guards supposedly being offered money to take him out?
Well, we asked in the chat, is Captain Traore public enemy number one? You and I, Curtis, was talking about that. If you're enjoying the show, could you hit the like button? It matters. We appreciate you. But we're interested in your thoughts. What is it about, and who is that public? Because they'll see. Beautiful thing about this now, there's cameras everywhere. Mm-hmm. So as much as we see these assassination attempts, we also see rallies worldwide. In fact, they're just getting larger and larger. I told you here at my church, when I would go, you know, a lot of my church are people from the Caribbean. And when I go in, literally every week, we're talking about, hey, did you see this? Did you see what he's doing here? Hey, did you see this? Did you see, you know, how he's changing the policy wise, you know, of course we laugh, you know, hey, they still trying to kill him. But the difference is now the West no longer controls the optics and the media.
Right.
And that allowed them to continually keep us in the dark and unfortunately murder people. It doesn't really come out. People don't really know who was there, who was involved. At this particular point, it's so public, you know, things can't be hidden the way they were anymore. And so the more they try, the more popular they make him, to the point where you have marches in Africa, countries in Africa uniting to march with him, people flying in to meet with him, you know, marches here in America. Like, there are people all around the world who see this man as our de facto leader. And, you know, the perfect example of what it means to be, you know, selfless, courageous, and, you know, in the face of danger, threats, persecution, you know, you go, you get up, you go. He comes with that beautiful smile, you know, signature smile, and he doesn't look, as much as he has on his shoulders, he doesn't look like he looks like he is taking it in stride. Very inspirational. And the fear is that he will just continually spark new leadership in other nations that are going to follow in his example. But you know, again, I think we're all just praying that he, you know, for his safety. We're praying for the people around him. So I'm glad, because there's a lot of people that would have took, in the old days, forget it. They wouldn't have had to make it 5 million.
Yes.
Old days, you know, they probably wouldn't have had to do more than maybe 10,000. You know, they know the stakes are high. Listen, you know, once you do this, you're a pariah. They're probably going to kill you right then and there. You won't make it out. So you're not even going to get to spend the money. So that's why the numbers have to be higher. Back then it was like, listen, man, listen, you smoke cigarettes, I'll get you 2 packs, I'll get you, you know. And, oh, yeah, sure, man, I haven't had a good cigarette in a month.
Not 2 packs of cigarettes.
Depending on who you was talking to.
That is true, though.
Price of a life is cheap. But in these days, revolutionary leader, and it's going to take a lot more than that. And I just pray that he's just continually protected. I don't want to ever see a day or think about a day where something happens to this man.
Ditto. And yeah, I continue to lift up that man, who I don't know, who, you know, I think we have different religions. We live in different countries, but that man looks like me, and he cares about his people, who are really my people, if I go back far enough. So I'm not mad at the president, and I'm going to keep lifting up his name in this show, in this venue, because I think it's important that we do, and it's important that we realize it. I'm so grateful that we are, well, for this reason, we live in this time where the news, as you spoke of, the media is not our only source of information. So we will know quickly if some things are going on that are untoward, or something nefarious going on that causes President Traore to be dealt with unjustly. So now we just kind of a quick hitter, because we got still a lot more to go to and not a whole lot of time left. Congratulations to the Catholic Church. It's not even on my list here, but they appointed a new pope yesterday. First American pope is been from Chicago. Okay, shout out to Chicago, Chi-Town in the house. But the new pope was appointed yesterday. I'm not Catholic. I don't necessarily follow it, but I do find the pomp and circumstance of it interesting, and I have my own thoughts that I won't necessarily share here. But any thoughts on the new American Pope, Pope Leo the 14th, now being coronated as the newest pontiff?
No.
Okay. Now listen.
No, not really. I mean, I don't get how all of these religions, though, continually, they got very big differences. They got big groups, and they all feel or should feel that the other person is wrong. So rather than like speaking out against that, like, for example, if I'm an evangelical Christian, I'm like, wait a minute, Peter was the Pope. How are we confessing our sins to like, there's not a more like, why am I not trying to convert Catholics? Like, if we're talking about big, these are billion people in the Catholic faith. There's
1.4 billion Catholics worldwide.
Yeah, so that's I don't get where these. It makes us. Yeah, I don't know how grounded we are in some of these things. If we like, how do we as evangelical Christians not speak out against? I'm not talking about we. I'm talking about like if this group of evangelicals. Yeah, but you're not really making an effort to talk to the Jews about the Jewish people who you support and send money to. Like, hey, but y'all don't know. It just seems like there's really no major conviction, because I would think that these big, huge sects of religions would be more speaking out against the other one being wrong, but they kind of commingle and live diplomatically and do business together and kind of run the world together in various ways. So, that's, I'm gonna stay out of it.
I don't want to go down this too far down this road, but the Bible teaches me there is one church, there's one Lord, one faith, one baptism. So I don't know. You should be asking yourself the question, though, as a religious person, why are there so many different religions if the Bible says there's only one? We don't have to go down that path too far.
Well, let me be clear here, because Get Black With Me just said something that's important, and it actually made me say to myself, I would be remiss not to talk about it. So because all right, so on my page, Brother Deshaun, right? So I made this video, and this video's been seen roughly now, I don't know, 20,000, 30. And so I posted it yesterday morning. Now, what it says is I'll play a little bit of it.
To descend from, all of us who descend from the transatlantic slave trade have fulfilled Genesis 15:13, where God told Abram that his descendants would be strangers in a land not their own, and they would afflict and oppress them for 400 years because of their disobedience to the law of Moses and to the statutes, judgments, and commands given by Moses when he said, choose life or death. So now that we have fulfilled the 400 years of slavery, God said, I would start the judgment on the nations that took you. Now, it said nation, which is kind of confusing, because didn't multiple nations take us into slavery under the transatlantic slave trade? No, one nation did, the Roman Empire. That fourth beast that Daniel saw, and he spread out into multiple heads. So you have France, you have Britain, who before they were Protestant were Catholic. You have the Vatican. The Pope sanctioned the transatlantic slave trade. They told Portugal, they told Spain, all of these nations that came and got us were part of and are part of the Roman Empire.
There is some truth there, my brother.
So that's absolute fact. And when you said Get Black With Me, the Catholics helped spread imperialism and colonialism around the world. Not only that, they were instrumental
Right.
And the scripture says that after 400 years, they would be judged. So it says every nation, that they spun out every nation. And so when we look at part of this video, and it's also posted to TikTok, it's collectively been seen like 50,000 times in the last 24 hours. So clearly it's resonating, but I don't care about it resonating. I post videos all the time. Check it. Fact check me. Because at the end of the day, you can cross-reference the scriptures and you can cross-reference what happened. So when we look at what's happening with the collapse of the Western world, everything that they built began to collapse from COVID, which was the first plague. People call it a pandemic. People call it a man-made pandemic. That's not a man-made pandemic. That's God meeting us exactly the time he said he would meet us to judge the nations after 400 years. Collapsing their economic system. Now, first he collapsed their economic system, 3 years. Then he's collapsing their political systems. That is literally what we're seeing with Donald Trump, who is the judgment of I don't care about none of these deals y'all made.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about none of these old agreements y'all made. 50-year agreements, 100-year. Whoa, we've been doing this. We've had alliances, though, for hundreds of years. I don't care about none of that. It's like a dude who come in, you know what I'm saying? We all know those people who come in and they're like, yo, this dude don't, okay, but does it matter at all? It doesn't matter at all. So when we consider that what these nations who have literally came and got us, ruled the world, scripture says they're breaking down. And so when it comes to this new pope, what I'm curious to see is the new pope going to take a stand with Trump or against Trump? And I'm very curious, what have you seen so far? And then anyone who's seen some things, what are you seeing so far concerning, what we potentially may see from this Chicago pope?
So my first indication was I was a little disturbed at first hearing that it was the first American. I don't think anybody really expected that. And I thought it was kind of a setup in support of the Republican administration here in America. But the more that I found out about Leo the 14th now, is that he is not necessarily the biggest fan of this administration. And specifically, J.D. Vance was pushing some, and J.D. Vance became Catholic in 2019, I think, converted to Catholicism in 2019. And then recently, within the last year had been spouting some sort of what the Pope called or basically agreed was an inaccurate understanding of a philosophy about love and the priority of love, if you will. So the pontiff at the time basically said, nah, that's not right. And chastised JD. Now, I'll just say this once again. I'm not so sure. JD Vance is just a fact. Last person to see the other pontiff alive. I'll leave my conspiracy theories alone for this week, but I'm not so sure about this Pope's. He doesn't seem to have.
We saw his face.
Yeah.
The Pope kind of had that look. What was the movie where the person was laying in the bed and Misery or something?
Yes. There you go. Yeah. So I don't think this Pope is a fan of this administration. It'll be interesting to see, how things play out. Because one thing we know that this administration finds problematic, and that is anybody that criticizes them, right? And this Pope has criticized. Well, the previous Pope, Francis, was very critical of the way we were dealing with immigration in this country. The rhetoric around immigrants is antithetical to what's the teaching in the Bible. So, clearly this Pope and the election of this Pope signals the continuation of the previous Pope's thought process with regard to having sympathy and empathy for those who are less than, the least amongst us. And that is clearly complete polar opposite to what this administration has shown itself to be. They don't seem to care about the least of us very much. And the pontiff does. So we'll see how that plays out.
What's your take on this? Get Black With Me just made a comment. She said, I think the real question is whether he will stand with the European powers or Trump. Which side is he going to take? That's really interesting, because clearly Europe is now realizing with US potentially, they're not out of NATO at this point, but they're out of NATO. So Trump has been trying to, for the last, really since his first term, renegotiate that deal and get out of it. It just seemed like to me, even when he said, oh, you guys aren't paying the 2% of your GDP. So I think that the number was they wanted all of the NATO countries, even the smaller ones with smaller economies, to get up to the point where they were spending 2% of their GDP, which is the money their country makes, on defense spending. So obviously, America, military industrial complex, we want you spending money on defense so that, if we're going to be here protecting you through NATO. But if you notice, about maybe 3 months ago, he said, listen, and 2% is too low. So even though, and you said something funny on an earlier episode of Hello Black America, there are people who are paying the money on time. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? There's people who are fulfilling their 2%. Mm-hmm. So we're going to ruin the whole deal. Jack, that's how we know he was trying to get out of it. Because for a couple people who are not paying, everyone has to suffer now. It's like, 2 kids in the classroom didn't do their homework. Now we all got to stay after school. Like, right. You know what I'm saying? So then he said, well, we need to really see if we could get that to like 5%. So now we know, okay, you're just trying to blow this thing up. So if we look and say, Europe is now saying we have to now defend ourselves. We no longer have big brothers, the United States, coming in. We have to, where is our army? Where is our real allies? So it's a split there. Good question. Do we see this Pope taking the side of I'm with Trump or I'm going with Europe, which is very heavily Catholic, but so is the United States. So, and we're talking heavily Catholic in population and in politics, like Catholic politicians, heads of states type things. What do you think?
I don't know where I come down on Europe versus Trump. I'm not sure they're that big of a difference, frankly. It's just a way that they're going about it. I think that nobody would be upset with Trump if anything that he's doing, if he did it in a more empathetic way, more, or just a more legal way. If he went through the legal processes, I don't know that many people would be upset, but he's chosen to kind of go at it, as a bull in a china shop. So I don't know. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what happens. I don't know that I don't believe this Pope is going to be a favorite of the administration, but we'll see how it plays out. I don't know that I want to spend much more time talking about that.
Yeah, because we didn't plan to.
No,
so let's go. What else we got on the agenda? Still a lot. But we'll try to.
A quick hitter here? Quick hitter. Yeah. Trump administration offering $1,000 for self-deportation. It's happened this last week. What could go wrong with that? What are you thinking about him offering $1,000? Saying the background is the Trump administration offered people $1,000 and a plane trip home to their place of origin.
What's the number on that one? Okay, 7.
That's number 7. I'm sorry. That's number 7.
That's all right. No, I got it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So anytime a person
$1,000, did I hear that right? 1,000.
Yes, $1,000. First of all, now which I mean, let's say in some outside of America, that $1,000 may prove to go a lot further than it would here in America, but it's still just $1,000. Let's call it what it is, right? I don't think that's $1,000 is a year's salary anywhere in the world. But my problem is that how can you trust this administration? I want my money up front. You know, if if you want me to self-deport, you give me my $1,000, I'll go down, and then if I'm planning on doing it, then I'll do it. But I can't trust this administration to do anything that they say they're going to do. So, yeah, I think it's a bad idea. Because once you get on the list, all bets are off. Then they know exactly who you are, where you are, everything they need to know to deport you without paying you the $1,000. So,
well, I would say the checks wouldn't clear, but this wouldn't be checks.
Nah, you're not getting that.
The amounts would have to be significantly higher to even be more than one check. Like, good Lord, $1,000? You know,
it costs more than that to round up each undocumented person and send them on back. I heard estimates that it costs anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 just to go get them, find them, ship them back to wherever they're going. So,
and it's getting way more expensive.
Yeah,
because as the plan doesn't work, the cost to do the plan becomes a lot higher. And good point, Get Black with Me. Still, Absolutely. We haven't heard one word about the undocumented workers from these corporations. So there's never been the undocumented workers are criminals in the eyes of the administration. So if they are, no problem. Okay, if under the law you're saying undocumented workers are criminals, the people who hired them aren't?
I'm wondering why they haven't started at Mar-a-Lago. I'm betting they could find a few of these undocumented people right there in Mar-a-Lago.
Come on.
I mean,
it's no way you're paying these people a competitive wage, a competitive salary. Your gardener, the person who does your cleaning, and the people who do the jobs that are, that there's tons of jobs that many immigrants come here and they do well, and they are necessary. So you're not going to sit up here and tell me that we're not, but we're never going to see that. So let's just, we already know. I appreciate you throwing out the, the obvious hypocrisy. But we already know this is just for joking purposes. That ain't never going to happen. So, but in the case of back to this $1,000, see what I like about this, Curtis? I like this because for those of you who don't know, like we're spearheading the we want reparations to lead. So my whole thing is this: it's about leaving with reparations. So we have a something that is going to continually pick up steam. It was birthed in 2025. It's called Rep 2025. And what it's about is it's rep2025.org, and it's about getting the people out of America who don't want to be here. So, and that doesn't necessarily mean, it's various reasons. Follow me here. If I'm going back to Germany right now or France right now because France needs help, France military is short. France, economy struggling. Am I viewed as wrong for that, Curtis? Am I viewed as anti-American for that?
Not at all. No, not at all.
Right. So if I look and I see that the lands that my forefathers and mothers come from is struggling, still desolate, needs my ideas, needs my input, needs my investment, opportunity is there. I've done my DNA test. I realized that my DNA is connected here. I know where my tribes are. I know where I come from. They're welcoming me back. Why am I viewed as anti-American for wanting to do that? But here's the thing. We take it one step further. You owe us money. So it's already costing you money to try to get people out the country. It's not working well. It's falling apart. Tons of public backlash. So our thing is get the people out. Let us help you get the people out who don't want to be here for whatever reason. And you are going to pay us to leave. And if we talk about a partnership in some cases, we have a 7-year deal proposal, 7-year deal, where we are proposing to America, and we will one day, in Jesus' name, meet with Pharaoh, who is Donald Trump, and present this deal because it's a great deal. But it's way more than $1,000, bro. And what I love, because I'm a negotiator by profession, from the car business. So I enjoy the negotiation. But what I love about you making $1,000 offer is because every great negotiator
starts low.
Here's the rule. You never throw out the first number. Now, which is why when you go into the car dealership, what do they say? Hey, so what do you want to pay? Well, I want to pay the lowest I can. How low? Low as you can sell it to me. See, they don't want to throw out the first number. Now, if you have to throw the first number out, you have to make it a ridiculously low number. And that's what he's doing. Because he realizes I'm willing to pay to get people out because it's already costing me. But what we're going to do is say, well, the number for us looks more like $1 million per person. So you're going to come up from your 1,000. We're going to talk about $1 million. We not moving. And when he says, all right, well, listen, I'll come up to about 10,000. Well, we'll come down to about 995,000.
Get Black with me says that he'll probably offer black people about $500.
Well, he's already offered 1,000. So that's the base entry for negotiation.
We're starting at 1,000.
No problem. Listen, I'm going to tell y'all this one story and then I'm done with this. I had one particular legal case in my life. And the first offer was $5,000, and and I had lost wages and things of that nature. It was a racial event. The dude I worked for at Mercedes, the general manager, literally showed a picture of a monkey, right? And he's like, he was showing, I got a customer there, and no one knows about this, but I haven't talked about it in years, but it's all over now, so I can talk about it. So I'm sitting there with my customer, a white woman, and she has a farm, and he's showing all these pictures of how he, jet skis. He shows a picture, he shows the safari he went on, and he shows a picture of a lion that he took, and he shows a picture of a zebra, and then he pulls up a baboon or some type of monkey, and he said, hey, now he had it here like this. He said, hey, this one's Deshaun's self-portrait. And he showed the woman the picture of the monkey, and we looked at each other. Neither one of us laughed. Me and the woman, it was my customer. She was picking up her Benz, and we literally came out that place, and we was like, did that just happen? She couldn't believe it. She was like, wow, did that just happen? And so, long story short, we ended up going to court. But the number that he offered me, it was very, very low, obnoxiously low. But by the end of that day, the number was, okay, yeah, all right, we got to pay. So when I look at things like this, it feels the exact same. You have to pay. And when we come and we settle at $500,000 per person, $700,000 per person, I ain't even gonna say that. Take that, that's off the record. Because they'll be watching this video and be like, but we got a video, you threw out 500,000, it's off the record. No. But this is the thing, y'all. And leaving with our reparations looks a whole lot better than sitting here every single year. Hey, give us reparations to stay here. No, we don't. We got things that we can build elsewhere. So that's why this story excites me. It lets me know you threw out the first number, brother. Little chink in your armor.
Absolutely.
Shows you're willing to deal. So that's all I got.
Speaking of numbers, and our time is quickly going. In fact, our time, every time I look up, I'm like, okay. The time really does go by, but we're talking numbers. So just want to throw this out in these few minutes here. Centers crossed a big milestone, $247 million. So remember that first week we were talking about centers, the Vanity, I think it was Vanity, was the group put out the report that, 61 million or opening, whatever it was. And somebody had to clap back and say, this is story number 20 or 21 if you're looking there. But
thank you.
If people were kind of talking stuff about, well, they still had a ways to go to profitability. Now they have they have, of course, eclipsed profitability and continue to rise. So congratulations to Ryan Coogler and everybody that has something to do with this movie. If you haven't seen it yet, I don't know. I think I'm getting to the point where spoilers is not something I'm going to be worried about. But for now, I'm not going to spoil anything for you. But you need to go see that movie. You need to go see that movie. Support that man. He does some brilliant filmmaking, brilliant filmmaking, stuff that nobody else is doing. And you probably won't even. You may not even notice it. But he's doing some amazing things, making some amazing movies, and Centers, I think, is one that we as a Black community should continue to support for as long as we can.
Incredible movie. $247 million.
Amen.
3 weekends.
Yep.
Wait,
and
have we even
have we
hit the 3? No, we're going into the third weekend.
They have actually done 3 full weeks now. So yep. Big, and they were just unseated from the top spot by the Marvel movie, but still they continue to make big bucks. So yeah, I'm happy to have supported that, and it's worth the investment of however much a movie ticket costs you these days.
Absolutely.
Couple quick things here that we want to go over. Oh man, there's just so much. And did you see Kristi Noem was being this is story 28 if you want to pull it up, but Senator Murphy from I think Connecticut was interviewing this Kristi Noem, head of Homeland Security, I think now, and she was basically saying that the Obrego Garcia guy that was shipped off to El Salvador, they're like, nah, he ain't coming back. This is terrible, because if a 9-0 decision by the federal, the Supreme Court says facilitate bringing this man back, and this administration is kind of doubling down and saying, nah, he ain't coming back. Those words, constitutional crisis, continue to ring, and sooner or later, this is going to be a problem. And we've talked about the precursor of civil war potentially. We've seen some things happening. It is disturbing. It is disturbing on so many different levels. But right. Guard your peace.
Black women, she might be held in contempt. Yeah. Listen,
I'm sure she will be.
I don't know if and it's not even on here. There's so much happening every week, y'all. It's tough for us to be able to hit on everything. We're going to continually try. We are trying every week to get better. But did anyone see the woman? She got carried out of a town hall meeting.
Yeah, I remember.
That wasn't even on our list, Curtis. Yeah. But when she said she was going to be held in contempt, that's what it made me think of, because these people are literally now, and watch this. She's getting carried out the town hall meeting, and she is, the chants in the town hall are let her stay.
Right.
So it's not even like they're getting the public support. They just have control of the law enforcement. So this is a perfect example of, we control law and order. This democracy that y'all talking about, I know y'all think y'all saying, let her stay, let her stay. Listen to the people. I know y'all think that used to mean something. Yes, it did. That doesn't mean anything in 2025. We will literally, against every one of you, have those people remove this person And scary, man. These are the things that and when history looks back, my question is, how long are you going to wait? I'm tired of seeing the let's impeach him. I'm tired of seeing whatever y'all keep saying that is literally throwing rocks in the ocean and thinking you're gonna hurt something. Like, what needs to happen so that when history looks back, they don't look and say, man, they waited how long? How many things did they need to see before they took some type of real action? Because this is getting absolutely nuts before our eyes.
I tell you, it's going to be when, and you know, we may not be here to observe it, but when history is written about this time, it's going to be clear those who were on the wrong side of history. And, you know, I don't want to get into the prophecy conversation, but, you know, we as you have said, and from our friend Hoshua, everybody's fulfilling some kind of prophecy, whether they know it or not. And we're seeing some of that going on right now. Brother,
all right, we got 10. We'll wrap it up at the 1:45 hour. We got 7 minutes. Can we do a couple quick hitters in 7 minutes?
Yes, we can.
Good Lord. It's tough. Listen, we started the segment, you know, we had 28 topics. And it's like, we're trying to catch you up on what happened this week. And it's like,
it's so much.
So much happening. Go ahead, Curtis.
So much. When I'm putting the stuff together during the week, I mean, you get to like Wednesday or Wednesday of the week, and it's so much stuff. And believe me, there's more that we could have even put on the list. So that we, you know, I had to make some kind of chops here. But anyway,
who's going to draw first blood, though? Let me ask you that. That's all I got for this one. Like, when do we think first blood's going to be drawn? Because all these people let this woman get carried out. They're chanting for her. But no, oh, wait, is this guy? No, I thought that was a guy trying to help her. Look, this is the United States. This is the land of the free, home of the brave, freedom of speech, freedom of press.
To your point, the first blood happens when one of those law enforcement officers decide that this is a bridge too far, that I've been given an order that I cannot comply with. It's an immoral order for me. Not me, but one of these law enforcement officials. So what if we ever see a case where somebody's given an order to do something and then someone amongst their own ranks decides that this is too far for me to go, that's when you're going to start seeing the crack.
Good point.
That's when I think you'll see that. Yep.
I think that sounds real. The military guy posted a video yesterday about them wanting to invade because, you know, they have orders now for Greenland.
Mm-hmm.
So they've already received orders from the president. Get ready. We're using military force to go and take Greenland. And I saw a military person say, listen, we're not doing this. And then there's other people, hey, remember your oath. So now that's that divide we talk about. But it's getting real fast. So, all right, I won't keep us on that. What else we got? Unless you got something else you want to throw in on that.
Not really. These are quick hitters. Of course, the foolishness of our president talking about Alcatraz this week. Any thoughts on opening the Rock back up? And I'm not talking about
wrap the show up in 6 minutes.
Oh my goodness! This is foolishness. This is foolishness.
Alcatraz. Go ahead. The president wants to. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm getting unhinged.
That's why I waited till the end to bring this one up. This man, seriously though, and we talked about it a little bit. You have to wonder about the mental acuity of this person at this point, right? Because some of these things that he's saying are just so ridiculous that you wonder. Is there anybody in this administration that's saying at any point, like, President Trump, that's probably not a good idea? Is anybody saying anything like that? Is there anybody in the background, like, just calling to attention that the fact that this was closed 60 years ago because it was too expensive to maintain this facility? It's in the middle of nowhere. You have to ship everything out there. You have to ship food and medicine and supplies. Everything has to be shipped. Now, we are living when you start talking about hypocrisy, we are living in the time where he created an entire fictitious part of the government to unravel inefficient use of money. the Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, it's in the name. So you want to open up the least efficient prison ever, just because it has some sort of romantic attraction of the name Alcatraz. This is so ridiculous. And again, going back to this critical thinking thing that we talk about from time to time, people are not even realizing how stupid this is that he would even bring this up. And I don't know if people are actually getting caught up on it or not, but it's a ridiculous thought. And
not from a dictator. You know, it's a ridiculous thought for somebody who runs the largest democracy in the world. But from a dictator standpoint, listen, there's a new sheriff in town. There's a new government. We're changing times. We're changing laws. We're changing times.
Ooh,
we're changing laws.
I had a little bit of a shiver because I remember reading that somewhere in the Bible, something that alluded to that, but I don't want to get started on that at this point.
New government. So I have now prisons holding people, not foreign threats.
Right.
Literally domestic threats, and domestic threats are anyone who we are seeing. Due process is going to look different. They're going to call it, because they're going to say there is due process. It just doesn't look like what you think due process is. And, so everything is looking different. But for somebody who is going to be the largest dictator in the world, or going to run his government the way Vladimir Putin runs it, with just multiple and more territories, I need places to put people, and I need it to be off in some remote place, because what I'm trying to do is terrorize people into behaving. So you don't want to end up in Alcatraz or El Salvador. I'm trying to terrorize you into obeying, into complying, like bowing down. Like, what does it look like when you don't bow down? Politically, when you're not silent, when you're out protesting. This was in our constitutional rights. No more. We're not going to let you protest. We have college students now. We have Harvard, right, which is another thing, Harvard continuing to take a stand against him, because take them to court. College students. We already have a college student she's been deported, or they've been deported.
No, they haven't been deported yet, but they've been arrested. They're still under arrest. Yes.
So, and then now all of a sudden we find out, okay, we got dirt on you and you were actually from this thing. Do we know that's true or not? How do we know if the press is not allowed to independently look at this stuff? So again, all of this stuff looks weird in the United States eye, but from a dictator standpoint, from a worldwide dictator, this is how I'm supposed to do it. When y'all gonna see it and try to stop me?
Who gonna check me, boo? That's his saying. That is his saying. Who gonna check me?
Yeah.
Anyway,
come
on. There's just so much going on. Too much to get to even now. And some of these stories, Donald Trump did say this week, though, that he's kind of downplaying the talk of him running in 2028. And he started to talk about people that would make good successors, Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance specifically. So at least somebody might have gotten in his ear about that, saying you might want to back off on the 2028 talk, since it is so obviously unconstitutional at this point. So maybe somebody got into his ear. I agree though with Get Black With Me in saying that he is a chaos agent. He's trying to sow chaos. And for what reason, we can speculate on that. But I think that that's what the design is. He's impetuous. Everyone else is plotting and planning. Trump was told he can't deport anyone else without due process. And that is what he's sowing for.
Is he going to listen?
Sowing fear, rather.
But is he going to listen?
That's the point. And that's why we see, and we didn't even get into it, but we talked about El Salvador, but he's shopping around Rwanda, Libya as places to ship these the undocumented immigrants to. And that is, I think, is because I believe I've got reports that I'm still trying to verify that El Salvador is now requiring due process proof when they take new people in. So if that is indeed the case, and even El Salvador is saying we need some due process notification, maybe it will be problematic. But this administration keeps trying to find different ways to get around it. So
and there's always going to be somebody that's going to take the check. So
absolutely.
El Salvador is not all of a sudden, we're getting too much scrutiny. Whatever the reason, there's going to be a country that's going to take the check, because we did the research, y'all, and they were paying El Salvador $20,000 per person, per detainee per year. So right. You took it, and it was the budget was what, $6 million? $6 million. So they had $6 million set aside to give to El Salvador. Maybe that number needs to be higher, because listen, again, he's a negotiator. He's going to throw out chump change first, right? And then you start realizing, wait, this ain't worth $6 million.
It doesn't seem like a lot of money.
It's not a lot of money. But when you're going to to certain countries, and it's like, hey, we'll give you $6 million. All right, we'll take this. Next thing you know, news people flying in. Hey, how do you feel to be aligned with a dictator? What are you doing? Wait a minute. Was this worth $6 million? No. Well, you were the first one. Next thing you know, another country deal might be $15 million, and then the price might end up being $30 million or whatever, which is why he's building Alcatraz, because it's like, well, instead of paying you X a million, well, I'm just going to build my own stuff. So, I have my own stuff. But there's always going to be some country who will take that check. We got plenty of room. Send them here. And you said Libya is next on the list. Is that who is he petitioning to take the people now? Oh, Curtis is frozen with a smile. All right, that might be God saying, "Listen, y'all." Look, we might be. Wait till he sees this. At least you see, this is good, because most times when you get frozen on camera, it's always in the worst position, right? If you get frozen, if your camera catches you, you got the weirdest face. That's a beautiful. That was a beautiful freeze. Big smile. All right. So what we'll do is we will listen. We try our best to get the show done by the 1:30 hour. We are most of the time not successful. We still had a ton of stuff to go over, and okay, I was going to wrap it up, but yeah, I see he's still trying to. Well, put it like this: we'll do a better job. But God, it's so much to discuss. There are so many things that we are that is happening every week, and then the dialogue that we have with you guys is just we go longer. Okay, here. Oh man, wait till you watch the replay. Wait till you watch the replay. Can you hear me?
I can. I don't know what happened. What I just disappeared there. So
no. After this, we're gonna watch the replay, but. I said that's God. Let's thanks, Get Black With Me. Let's wrap it up. I told him we're gonna do a better job, but it is tough considering everything that happens. We still have probably 7 or 8 things that we wanted to get to. Stories we'll be following, but it's tough. So I mean, I don't know. You want to, take the last couple minutes, close us out, but or do we? Because if you say, hey, let's go another 10 minutes, we got more stories. Then
yeah,
that's our conflict. That's our continual conflict.
Yes, and we could do that. We could probably make the show 3 hours and talk through, and even then, we might have trouble ending on time because the conversation with you, our co-host, is engaging, and it's something that we don't take for granted. Get Black with me. I learn from you every week something. I can't wait to go and check out some of the stuff that you posted even today. So we don't take you for granted. Hopefully you are learning. We're bringing you some stuff that maybe you weren't aware of as well, and that's the goal. That we'll learn from each other to create kind of the community that we want. So that's really it for me. There's always more to talk about, and we plan to be here again next week, same time, to discuss these things and bring what's going on in Black America that affects us and our communities. We're really hyper focused on that. Any final thoughts you have today, Brother Deshaun?
Well, we appreciate you for watching. We ask that if you could, if you're rocking with us, hit the like button, hit that thumbs up. We got shadow watchers, which is all cool. We love it. Feel free to comment. We always love your comments, but sometimes if you want to just ride in the car and listen and just, get caught up, we want this to be the place where people say, hey, where do you get your news from? Where do you find out? Where do you stay on top of what's happening throughout the week? Obviously, you can have your shows and everything, but we want the place to, we want you to say, hey, this week in Black America. We try to be as thorough as possible. And, our goal is to get better every week. So we appreciate you. If you haven't already, subscribe or follow the Brother Deshaun page. Subscribe to the Hello Black America page. And as Curtis said, we'll be here same time next week, Friday, 12 noon. And we appreciate you.
And that's it for this week in Black America. Join us next time. And for now, we're out.
Hello, Black America.